Hello to all my dear followers and be welcome to this fanfic that you asked me so much in the comments, so there is it. Be welcome to the 19th season of What If Naruto Was Ignored by His Family and Made a Contract with the KITSUNE'S. As always, you know that if you want more seasons, I know yes, so just let me a like, comment and subscribe for more. So, we gonna start.
38. All a kitsune needs sometimes is a post-clarity. It was the following day at Tsuna, the day after Gaara of the Sand, the fifth Kazakage's resurrection and the death of Tsunade's beloved elders, Lady Chiyo. The woman was buried and the funeral was today. Many CME and showed their support of her brother, Ebizo, her brother, and mourned the loss of a powerful shinobi elder. They all came dressed in black, even the Konoha team. As they came to the funeral, Yakumo even shed a few tears. Losing someone, even if you knew them briefly, didn't matter when you just fought side by side, struggled against a formidable and dangerous opponent together when separately, death was certain. Yakumo fought with Chiyo to the very end, struggled and nearly died with her on battle. That kind of bond will stick for a long while, or in this case it should have. While Naruto would say this is unfortunate how things ended like this, Lady Chiyo gave her life for this very reason. So all of Tsuna would have a Kazakage, so her sacrifice was very much not in vain. The village would prosper under Gaara's reign. That's enough for her, that's enough for Tsuna, and that's enough for Naruto. Mission completed. Right now, which was after the funeral, the Konoha team, which consisted of Team 12 and 9 plus Kakashi, were at the gate saying their goodbyes to the Kazakage and his siblings. Thank you, Naruto Kitsune. You have saved me yet again. Naruto smirked. Well, it wasn't really me that saved you. I just got us to where we needed to be. Ow. Damn it, Sayori. Fuck off. The Kitsune boy said as he rubbed his ribs from the swift elbow the Uchiha gave him. Sayori shrugged her shoulders. You were talking BS, so? I agree, you coming to my aid was good enough, and if it wasn't for you and your team, I would surely not make it. Thank you, all of you. Naruto smiled a bright fox smile. Glad we can help Gaara, he said. Gaara rose his hand to shake his, but Naruto watched it shock before he rose his own and shook it. Can't wait to see you again, Naruto-kun Tamari said with a wink, but Sayori pulled the blonde fox summoner away. Hell no, goodbye. Tamari grabbed Naruto's right arm. No, if Naruto doesn't want to leave then he can stay for a little while longer. I'm sure your father wouldn't mind, Naruto-kun. I want to show you around Tsuna, like I promised. Sayori glared hard. No, we finished the mission, we should report back while it's still fresh in our minds. Besides, Naruto hates it here in Tsuna, he said so, right Naruto? The Uchiha said as she glared hard at him, making the blonde sweat, seeing the glare Gaara and Kankuro were giving him. Asterisk gulp asterisk. Gaara sighed, he moved to his sister. Tamari, enough. Let them go. Tamari widened her eyes at her little brother, but he frowned at her, ordering her as her Kazakage, not asking her as her little brother. She let go while Naruto moved back, though she pouted, though I hardly vowed to find a way to get past that Uchiha. Kankuro laughed at his sister. Well, you guys are safe to travel back. There aren't any storms in the area and won't be until the end of the week. You're clear. Well, with your leave, Kazakage-sama. We're off, Kakashi said as the Konoha group bowed and head out, leaving the Tsunade at the border. On the way back, Naruto turned to his girlfriend with a smirk. So, care to tell me why you nearly risked a broken treaty for petty jealousy? He teased. He knew that Gaara was too mature for breaking a treaty over one shinobi's opinion of their home, even if it were true. If he was that thin-skinned, he wouldn't have been Kazakage. Sayori blushed though she glared at the ground as the group ran on the sand. I'm sorry, alright? Tamari just knows how to get under my skin, is all. More like, any flirting girl knows how to get under your skin. You're so jealous. It shows more than your Uchiha blood, Naruto said with a short laugh. Sayori glared at him. I am not the jealous type. Who are you fooling? Do we have to revisit the last few minutes as to what you nearly started? Or do we go back further when Hinata tried to sit next to me at the barbecue joint? Or that time when Ino blushed in his direction the same time? Yakumo joined in with a smile. Sayori glared at the back of the Kurama girl's head. Hey, Nobody asked you dash. Or that time when you nearly flamed me alive when Tamari asked me out during the Chunin exams? Naruto said, interrupting her. Or those times when Naruto would try and flirt with you, Kichiro joined in from the mindscape. Ha! Even Kichiro says you are completely jealous when even Naruto looked my way. Sayori groaned. That was different. She was being an incestuous weirdo and the sight of her pissed me off since you're my teammate. Oh yeah, well how about the time when you used to bully him, huh? You say you bullied him because he was weak, but maybe you bullied Naruto because you didn't know how to express your true feelings, Yakumo said, which made Sayori widen her eyes with a blush while everyone turned their head to her. Naruto turned to her with a smirk. Oh, really now? Is that why you kept harassing me? Because you secretly wanted a piece of me this whole time? Well, I don't blame you, but choose your words carefully next time. If you were careful back then, I could have been your pogo stick even back then. Sayori was so red. Her ears were steaming as she turned quiet. Naruto laughed as he saw her and Yakumo chuckled, seeing their Uchiha teammates so flustered. YOSH. Splendid words. Naruto Kyun. Mind if I use them with Sakura-chan? Surely. They can work and get me a date. Maybe a kiss. If she doesn't do either, then I will do 100 upside-down push-ups with my index fingers at the top of the Hokage monument. Yes, Lee. Your flames of youth shine bright. If Sakura-san doesn't accept, then I will join you until she does. Tenten and Niji-sai, the latter speaking to them. Well, I hope those fingers are well rested because that will more than likely be happening, Guy-sensei. Seriously, and Lee, if you use that line on Sakura, then I'm pretty sure the only pogo stick moves you'll be getting is your ass on Sakura's fist. The group laughed at Lee's deflated face as they headed back to Konoha. Once they returned in 2 days, Team 9 parted ways to go get their much-needed and deserved rest. Whole Team 12 plus Kakashi moved to the Hokage office to report. The group walked through the door of the office, greeting Minato, Kushina, and Jiraiya. Oh, Team 12, you returned, Minato said with a small smile. Hello, Naruto, Kushina said while Naruto just looked at her. He responded. Your mother greeted you, brat, Jiraiya started while Naruto groaned. Look, can we just cut the fucking bullshit and just start the debriefing? I'm tired, Naruto said. Already over being here of Jiraiya and Kushina were in here already. Kushina looked down in sadness. Though she wouldn't cry, she knew better than that. Jiraiya looked annoyed though Minato sighed. Before the white-haired sage spoke, Minato interrupted. Yes, please. Let's discuss it. What happened? Kakashi? Kakashi began to debrief the Hokage about the situation and what happened while telling them of Gaara's current status. After about an hour explaining, Minato smiled. Well, that's a relief. The Kazekage's well and the Akatsuki are short members. Even though they managed to obtain their Jinchuriki, I still call it a win. Excellent work, you 4-inch. Jiraiya, however, spoke out of turn. Yeah, good work. Even though I feel as though Kakashi exaggerated Naruto's fight with Deidara. The kid's good, but I highly doubt he's that good. Naruto frowned. I'm not gonna get on you for being old like your late sensei, but at least the third Hokage can recognize potential from bullshit when he saw it. Hence why Orochimaru, despite his fucked up ways, was and always will be his favorite out of you 3 Sannin. Jiraiya glared hard at him while Minato widened his eyes and Kushina remained silent, still mulling over her failed relationship with her son. Watch your tone, you damn brat. You will not disrespect sensei. No, I'm not disrespecting the third, though I can. But no, I'm disrespecting you. But hey, we all reach our old years where we tend to forget things, and also I urge you to take a look at the bingo book before you lap your soon-to-be toothless mouth. Pussy. I'm outta here. Naruto turned to the door, leaving with Sayori and ignoring Jiraiya's shouts, while Kakashi sighed and poofed out. The only one remaining from the team was Yakumo. Minato looked up from his paperwork and saw the girl. Yes, Yakumo? Can I help you with something? Lord Hokage, I must tell you something urgent. It's something you might want to hear, Minato frowned, while Jiraiya stopped being pissed off and Kushina stopped moping about her blonde son. Turning to the Kurama girl, said girl began to feel uneasy having 3 powerful shinobi gaze at her so seriously, but the information she had is serious. What is it? Jiraiya asked. Lord Hokage, Jiraiya-sama, Uzumaki-sama. This information came straight from the Akatsuki, Sasori of the Red Sand. Minato's frown furthered. Go on. Meanwhile, outside the now tense office, Naruto and Sayori were walking to the Uchiha compound as Naruto was dropping off his girlfriend. Said Uchiha was thinking to herself as the blonde kept his mouth shut and held her hand and looking up to the setting sun. The duo passed by a few Uchiha townsfolk on their way to Sayori's house. They mostly smiled at the two, calling them cute, while others, mainly the old hardback Uchiha who were strict with their ways of the Uchiha ways, showed scowls on their face, disapproving of their relationship, since an Uchiha is meant for an Uchiha and a Senju/Uzumaki is meant for a Senju/Uzumaki. Naturally, of course, they didn't bother to pay too much attention to the Uchiha folk as they were more interested in each other. Sayori more than anything. As the two made it to her house, Naruto spoke, pertaining to her house. This is you. Sayori nodded. Right. This is me. She confirmed, though inwardly, she was fighting herself. Come on. Just ask him. Let's do it, come on. She thought to herself. Naruto began to turn around. Well? See you tomorrow. Wait, Sayori asked. Naruto turned around as he stared at her in curiosity. What is it? Is something wrong? Sayori began to twirl the top of her sandals on the ground as she looked down shyly. I. Naruto walked over to her and graped her shoulders gently. Sayori-chan, what's wrong? You know you can tell me anything, right? It's what I'm here for. Sayori nodded her head before she just let it out. I know we just came here, but, and we don't have to, it's just, Sayori? Just tell me. The Uchiha took a deep breath and spoke. I don't want to go home, she said. Naruto frowned. Why? Sayori looked at the side of him, staring at the sidewalk. I just don't want to go home. Naruto clenched his teeth in fury. Is it that bastard Fugaku? I'll kill him if he's harmed you. And no, that's not it, I swear. In fact, he's been rather pleasant these past couple of months. No, I just don't want to go home tonight. Naruto frowned at the thought. Why didn't she want to go home for tonight? It made no sense to him. Think, idiot. Kichiro said, seeing the signs clear as day, but Naruto being too dense about woman is being too slow for his liking. Naruto took a few moments before he blushed heavily. Oh, you mean Dash? Why yeah, I do. If you don't mind, that is. And no. And not at all. Come, let's head back. Naruto held out his hand, which Sayori took, and the two walked back together, though both their hands were rather sweaty now. Naruto and Sayori didn't talk the way back as they were too wrapped up in their thoughts of nervousness. They passed sushi shop and they took some home for dinner. As they reached Naruto's apartment, they took off their sandals and their weapons at the door while Kichiro hopped out. Ah, home at last. Yep, it's good to be home. Yo, Haku. Naruto shouted, but he received no response. Maybe he's still working at the hospital. Yeah, maybe. Oh well, I guess it's just us, Naruto said. Yeah, it is. The two stood there in awkwardly, but Naruto shook his head. Yeah, let's eat. Right. Naruto moved to the kitchen to get some tea while Sayori set the food on the table. Kichiro waited by his bowl and looked in the kitchen. My food, asshole. In a minute, Naruto said from the kitchen. Sayori moved to pet Kichiro, getting a purr in response as they waited for Naruto. In about 10 minutes, the blonde returned to the dining table, placing down Kichiro's steak. Thank you, son of a bitch, Kichiro said. You're welcome, Prostifox, Naruto said as he walked to the table, sat across from her. The two ate in silence as they sat there, staring at their sushi plate. After that ate, Naruto offered to wash the dishes while Sayori dried them. While they were in the midst of doing the dishes, Naruto thought himself funny as to quickly tilt his wrist with the hose and spray Sayori. The Uchiha flinched as she felt the water surprise her body. She turned to Naruto and glared at him. Are you serious? She said with a blank tone. What? I didn't do anything. Yeah, right? She said as she took the towel in her hand, twisted it in a spinning motion before snapping the towel on Naruto's nipple. "Ah, hey," Naruto said as clutched his right nipple. "What? I didn't do anything?" Naruto glared at her before he used the hose to spray her. "I will not be your slave." He then began spraying the Uchiha down with water. "Oh, you fucking bastard. Take this," she shouted as she began to whip the towel at him again and again while he sprayed her, having a total fight in the kitchen. After about 10 minutes of spraying and whipping, the two stopped and planted as one was extremely wet while the other was sporting some wicked red marks on his body. Her pink blouse that she wore was completely drenched now, allowing Naruto to see her bra-covered breasts. He blushed heavily. He began to glance around the kitchen to notice their playfight's handiwork. The entire kitchen was wet, probably leaving him the only thing dry in the kitchen. He looked out the window. "Hey, it's getting late. Maybe we should get ready for bed. You get the first shower. I'll clean up here." Sayori looked at him with a cute frown and a rosy blush. "Are you sure? I could help." He shook his head as he pulled out some more dry clothes from a cupboard. "Yeah, I'm fine, don't worry. If you need clothes, take a shirt and some shorts from my drawer." The Uchiha frowned but nodded her head. She had to get out of these clothes anyway. She moved to the showers while Naruto stayed back. As soon as he heard the shower run, he called out, "Kichiro, buddy, wanna do me a huge, best friend, favor? Clean up your own mess, bitch." The fox answered while Naruto growled. "And he houses a semi-large 9-tailed red fox in his home for what?" Naruto sucked it up and used his shadow clones to help him clean up around the kitchen as he continued to wash the dishes. Once he was done, he moved to the bathroom to collect Sayori's wet clothes. Kichiro, from the couch, saw Naruto began to sneak to the bathroom in hopes of not startling or angering his girlfriend. "Pervert," the fox mumbled. "That's why you're sleeping with Haku tonight," the blonde whispered back. "I keep sabotaging myself," the fox said as he just lied there on the couch. Naruto turned the corner, facing the bathroom door before quietly opening the door to the steamy bathroom. He looked at the shower, which is tinted and steamy, but he can make out her figure in there. He just continued to grab her belongings and moved to the other side of the door, but he stared at her in the shower with a blush, but he shook his head and hurried out, lest he get caught. He moved to where the washing machine was and put it on a gentle load. He then waited for her to be done by sitting on the couch with Kichiro, petting him as the fox began to fall asleep. How can a fox who did absolutely nothing be so tired all damn day? How can a person who moved around all day being so energetic not be so tired? I guess we're both pretty weird. Huh. He countered, which made Naruto flick the fox's ear, making it growl slowly, but he stayed still. After about a few minutes of utter silence with his companion on his lap, Naruto heard the bathroom door open. "I'm done," she said as she headed into Naruto's room. "Right," he said as he gently pushed the fox on the couch as he moved to the bathroom to get a shower as well. He took a rather long one too, as he traveled for 2 days, so he stunk quite a bit. Once he finished, he wrapped a towel around himself before he moved to grab his clothes. He sighed to himself as he forgot to grab clean clothes from his room, where Sayori was right now. He grabbed his dirty clothes and moved to the washing machine, putting them in a basket beside the washing machine. Maybe he'll get the chance to wash them tomorrow. He then moved to his bedroom door on the other side of the apartment, still in his towel. Naruto knocked on the door. "Sayori, can you open the door? I forgot my clothes." In moments, the Uchiha opened the door, wearing one of his black shirts as a sort of dress. He wasn't sure if she had on shorts or even underwear. Her hair was still a bit drenched, looking a bit frazzled even but still damp. He walked right in and Sayori closed the door and, unknowingly to the blonde, locked it too. "Thank for washing my clothes, by the way." "Oh, don't sweat it. It's the least I could do after I practically wet them myself." He chuckled as he searched for his clothes. As soon as he found them, he turned to leave but found the girl in his way, looking at him in a weird way. He smiled at her before tried to sidestep her, but she also moved with him, still in his way. "Sayori dash." She didn't utter a word, putting her hand on his chiseled yet wet chest, traveling all the way up his to his neck before bringing him down for a passionate kiss. He kissed her back just as hard and as loving as she did. She then grabbed Naruto's hands, which were holding both sides of her face, and placed one on her breast and the other on her ass. She stopped kissing him and looked up in his blue eyes. "Feel me," she said, almost like an order. The blonde followed, of course, as he began to grope her body, make her moan softly at his gentle yet firm hands. He easily took notice that his suspicions were correct in thinking that she wasn't wearing any undergarments. Under this shirt, Sayori Uchiha was completely nude. "Why your dash? Did you really honestly think that I was gonna just let you take the couch while I slept in here alone?" she asked with blush, but her eyes held a fire in them that set Naruto's body ablaze. He felt a bit embarrassed, because that was exactly what he was thinking to do. Not because he was an idiot to the Uchiha's advances, but because he was unsure if she was truly ready. I mean, I just thought dash. I know, and tonight I thought I wasn't too, but in the shower I realized that, after everything that happened just 2 days ago with Temari, all the things you and Yakumo said about me being jealous and all that, it's because I love you that I don't want to lose you to any other woman dash. But you're not going to. I keep telling you that dash. I know, and I love you for it, but Naruto-kun, I've been feeling this way since you returned. The feeling of just dreading the day you find out how much you're worth and decide to leave me for someone better frightens me. It will literally kill me to see you go, so I act that way to push off potential threats. Potential threats? Naruto said in confusion, wiping away the girl's tears. Sayori sniffled. Temari is the daughter of the 4th Kazekage and brother to the 5th. Hinata is the daughter to the Hyuga clan head dash. And your daughter to the Uchiha clan head. Daughter to the Raven of the Sharingan. Brother to Itachi Uchiha and student of Shursui Uchiha. Trust me, your name will have more leeway. Besides, what did I say to you about names having no meaning? It's the person that matters, idiot. Not the name, he said softly to her. She smiled as she looked up at him lovingly. I know it's just after all this time, after everything we've been through, I just didn't know how to put it into words, but now I do. I love you, Naruto. I love you so much. Naruto smiled wide. His bright smile was so contagious that she began to smile too. This was probably the first time that Sayori actually fully confessed to him seriously, so he was really happy. I love you too, Sayori. More than you could ever know. He pulled her into a kiss as he gripped her whole body. Sayori grabbed his arm, pulling him to the bed as she pushed him once he was in front of her, finding herself on top of him as she kept her intense kissing and groping going. Lemon start. Sayori grabbed the back of Naruto's neck as she kissed him heavily. Finally, it's just us. Say kissed him. No one is around. She went for another kiss. No distractions. Another kiss. No interruptions. Just us. As she pulled him to her with her rather strong arms. Sayori was very passionate right now, just wanting to feel Naruto's warm body all over hers. Naruto began to send kisses to her naked neck as she began to moan softly. His kisses were like heaven to her. She couldn't get enough of him, and it was very hard to stop once she started. This time, Itachi wouldn't be barging in the room to interrupt their time, nor is Haku standing on the other side of the door peeking in. They were completely alone. As Naruto began to kiss and suck her neck, Sayori unconscious pulled her body even closer. Though the blonde thought it impossible to be even closer, the next step would only to be inside her at this rate. The Uchiha, running on pure pleasure, began to grind her lower body on Naruto's towel-covered crotch, getting a groan from the blonde, which to her was so sexy to hear. She kept doing it though harder. Naruto just kept grunting as he felt her just grind on him. Even through the towel, Naruto can feel the heat and friction Sayori was giving him, which was enough for him to have a massive hard-on. Oh God, Sayori! She kept going, not stopping as she began to feel his erection under the towel. She just kept grinding herself. She stared into his eyes now, looking at with pleasure and love while he just grunted. Despite all his boasting and teasing, this world of pleasure is new to Naruto. He had never before felt the goodness of sexual pleasure, and due to that, always judged perverts like Jiraiya for wanting sex so bad that they'd risk just about anything to get it. Now sitting her with the most beautiful woman in the world, watching and feeling her grind herself on his hard and covered member, and they haven't even gotten to true foreplay yet. He could understand what all the fuss was about. Sure, Jiraiya was still a fucking weirdo, but he can at least understand why now. Sayori suddenly began to grip harder on his shoulders as she kept grinding herself on him. It was soon that the Uchiha grasped onto him tightly, hugging him while she was taking deep breaths by his ear, sounding exceptionally hot to him. Sayori, are you okay? He asked, but the woman responded with more gasps for air. It felt so good. She whispered to him before slowly moved from his neck before planting a wet kiss on his lips, which Naruto responded. Wait, did you dash? She blushed as looked down. Her shirt and on top of Naruto's towel, there was a significant warm yet wet spot staining the two. Why, you're gonna need to wash these too, she mumbled to herself. Naruto looked up at her before chuckling to himself as he pulled her in and kissed her. This time she wrapped her arms around his neck and wrapped her legs around his waist, hugging him tightly. Naruto had never seen Sayori this clingy before, and honestly, it was a serious turn-on for him. Sayori, while kissing, tried to remove his shirt from being on her body, but in Naruto's mind, she was taking too long. He grabbed the back of the shirt before he ripped it open from there, disposing it from her body so he can take a real good look at his lover. Her body was to die for. Most people would talk about the Uchiha males and how they were so handsome, but no one ever described the Uchiha woman and their godlike beauty and figure. Sayori's body was crafted by God's delicate hands. It was the stuff of art. Her curves were all in the right places. Her milky white skin was gorgeous. She had a few beauty marks on her shoulders and her beautiful C-cup chest. Sayori's toned legs was something only a true kunoichi would have, toned legs with a nice bubble butt. Sayori was of perfect design in every way. He honestly wondered how he got so lucky. Naruto was just caught gazing at her naked form, before his eyes glanced down to the female Uchiha's sacred place. Sayori was well shaved and ready, he thought to himself. His eyes can't look away from her honeypot. The girl in question blushed. Don't just stare, she said. Naruto shook his head before he tackled her to the bed, making her lie on her back while he on top. You're so beautiful, he said to her before kissing her passionately. She pulled him down for a hot kiss, letting her tongue explore his mouth. Naruto let go before he slid down her body, his tongue touching her skin as it slid down with him. He managed to lick her lips first as his mouth detached from the kiss, then moving to the chin before traveling to the neck and then the chest, where he lingered for a while as he licked and sucked her breasts. After a while, Naruto traveled to her navel before he reached his destination, Sayori's vagina. Naruto looked up to see her pleading eyes before he began to dig in. He started with his fingers, his index of course went first. Sayori let out a light hum, almost a moan, but it grew louder when Naruto injected his other finger in her. Oh, Naruto. Oh. Naruto kept thrusting his fingers in and out of her, then adding the technique of twirling his fingers inside of her. Sayori flinched while as her hips began to moving in pleasure. Sayori was biting her lips in pleasure as she had to control herself, but it just felt too good to her. Oh, Naruto, stick it deeper. Oh God. How are you this good? Though what the Uchiha didn't know was that Naruto didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He was just going off of instinct. He's definitely read a bit of 18+ content before, but never before had he put it into action. This was something on a different level, but what made Naruto more relaxed about the situation was that fact that both he and Sayori had never done anything like this before, so they were both inexperienced. Both were virgins. So if there was a time to explore, this is the best chance he would get, especially when it's with the woman he loves. Enough, Sayori said as she got up, though her head was a bit dizzy from all the non-stop pleasure she was receiving. She took a few deep breaths before she pushed Naruto on the bed this time. Sayori crawled over him, showing her intense blush but determined and horny face. You won't get away with this, Naruto, she said, though with lust. Get away with what, Sayori? The Uchiha glared hard at him, her Sharingan spinning to life as she studied him. You're constant teasing me and giving me pleasure, but you think you'll just walk away without having to come? I'll milk your balls empty. She ripped the towel off the blonde's waist and gasped at the monster underneath. Underneath was at least 6 or 7 inches long. Now, seeing as this was Sayori's first glance at the male anatomy, She was pretty shocked to see it so big. What should I do with it? She thought before she remembered something from some of those magazines Itachi had under his bed when she would do house cleaning at the Uchiha compound. She began to rub her hand down slowly, getting a feel for what she was doing. Though even slightly rubbing was enough to get Naruto to grunt. Sayori smiled to herself before she began to go faster and the reaction increased. The friction with her hand and Naruto's cock was bringing the blonde to absolute pleasure. She just kept rubbing it and rubbing it with speed that Naruto just looked so happy with. He looked like he was going to pass out, which made her smile, but she wanted to one-up him. Despite being lovers, she was also his rival, even when it came to sex, so she needed something better and she knew exactly what to do. She moved her mouth to the head of the penis before she gave a long lick from the shaft all the way to the head. Once she did that, Naruto's body tensed as he felt a warm and wet thing glide on his dick. "Oh God!" he moaned. Sayori grinned. She got him to moan. She was doing something right. She kept doing it for a while before she eventually wrapped her whole mouth around the dick, sucking it with moderate pace. Now again, to an experienced person, Sayori's head game would probably be trash, but to Naruto, another inexperienced person and the person who loved this woman, was the best thing he had ever felt. As Sayori twirled her tongue around his head, Naruto's was on cloud 9. Never before had he felt something so beautiful before. Sayori just kept sucking before Naruto grabbed her head. Oh my God! He grunted as he let himself loose without warning, right into Sayori's mouth. The Uchiha went wide-eyed at the feeling of warm, slimy liquid enter her mouth. It was like a hose, almost as it took a full 10 seconds for it to stop. Naruto laid back, letting his post-nut clarity hit him. His head was in the clouds. "Ah," he said. Sayori, meanwhile, was in the midst of tasting what was Naruto Kitsune in her mouth. She realized that he had a bit of a sweet taste to him and it was very enjoyable to her. She swallowed it, letting it pass down in her body. She said. "You taste good. Sweet." She turned her Sharingan eyes to her lover, only to see him on the bed, gazing up at the ceiling. That was Naruto's first nut bust. He felt so light. He didn't know what this was, but it was something he definitely needed more often. "Naruto-kun, are you ready for the main event?" Sayori said as she laid on the opposite side of the bed. He legs spread out, inviting him in. "Make me yours, Naruto." That saying lit something up in the Kitsune. His eyes went red and slitted. He jumped up from the bed with speed as he slammed himself inside Sayori, both feeling immense pleasure. "Are you ready? Go!" Red eyes met red eyes as the Kitsune began to pound into the Uchiha, starting at a very hard and fast pace that set the Uchiha over the edge. The reason she felt a lot less pain than she should have on her first time was because of her extreme training, so it tore already. This happens to a lot of trained kunoichi, so this was normal. Naruto just began to growl as he kept thrusting into Sayori, losing his mind as he was lost in sex. His whiskers were beginning to deepen and his nails grew sharper as they cut into the sheets. Sayori, despite her Sharingan active for the whole thing, her vision was going blurry from the raw pleasure of being pounded by a beast. She began to lose some consciousness from it, although she fought it, staying awake for this beautiful moment. "Ah, fuck me, Naruto. Fuck me!" she shouted. Not caring if the entire apartment can hear her, it felt way too good. Naruto, in his lust-filled state, picked up Sayori and forced her to kneel and her ass raised to him, all without pulling out, and pounded her from behind, going even deeper. Naruto gripped her by the neck as he forced himself inside of her while Sayori whimpered and begged for more. He sped up and pounded her. The force of his thrusts could be seen on Sayori's skin as the ripples of force he had was unreal. The Uchiha girl had her tongue out, looking so defeated, almost like a dog being forced to submit. Naruto grunted something fierce as he then growled as he unleashed his semen in the Uchiha's waiting walls, but the Uchiha had also come as well, tightening around the blonde as she milked him dry. Naruto fell back on the bed while Sayori fell face first, with her ass still high in the air, though a little flow of semen began to flow down from her crevice as they had both passed out from the night after the extreme sex they had, both with stupid shit-eating grins on their faces. And lemon. The next morning, the sun shined in on the apartment of one Naruto Kitsune as he woke up in his bed, drool coming down his face, but with the sun in his eyes, the blonde began to stir awake. His blue eyes slowly fluttered open as he lied on the bed. He slowly glanced around. He took a deep breath before and stretched as he was about to get up for the day, but he couldn't because there was extra weight on him than usual. Naruto glanced to his right to see his Uchiha girlfriend, Sayori. Juan was equally nude as he was right now. The events of last night began flowing through his head as he had just lost his virginity. He had sex with his girlfriend and it was amazing. He moved to her and began to kiss her lips. Even though she was in sleep, she responded rather well, kissing him back with equal emotion. He pulled back and then hugged her. "Morning, gorgeous." Sayori opened her eyes as she felt very warm. She pulled herself closer to the source and responded, "Hn, the sun is evil. Make it go away." She mumbled in her sleep-like state. "Sorry, I know I may be all Kage level strength and all, but that seems more like godlike powers and stuff, so yeah. Let's be real here," Naruto said, which annoyed her. "Stupid dumb blonde alarm clock," she said as she moved to bash him on his head, but Naruto caught her fist. "Come now, Sayori. We have to get up. 5 more minutes, Naruto-kun, please. It's our day off." 5 more minutes means 5 more hours, Sayori-chan. "Fine. If you want to stay in bed, then I'm getting up." As he moved to leave the bed, the Uchiha pulled him back down. Sayori moved to angle her head to glare at him with one eye while the rest of her face was in the pillow. "That means you too," she said, gripping his arm. Naruto sighed. "You are too much, you know that, girl." The Uchiha didn't respond as she just pulled Naruto back into bed to hug his naked form with her own. "You're my pillow, you hear?" "I know," he sighed. After a few more minutes of rest, Naruto heard someone outside his door. "Well, if the lovebirds would like to have breakfast. It's on the table," a voice that sounded like Haku said as the footsteps went lighter, meaning he was walking away from the door. Naruto smirked as he heard the sound of food. "You hear that? Breakfasted on, love, we should eat." There was silence in the room, leaving Naruto to wonder if she had already gone back to sleep, but the Uchiha spoke. "Fine." While Naruto simply moved out of bed, Sayori had to roll off of bed, face planting on the floor. Naruto moved to her side of the bed. "Are you all right?" He grabbed Sayori's hands and pulled her up, but her body crashed to his, but his strong arms held her in place. The Uchiha blushed along with Naruto as they held each other in their nude forms. Sorry. I guess and still don't have much feeling in my legs yet." Naruto nodded his head in understanding, but inwardly, he felt like a boss. He fucked her so good. She can't even walk good. "I can help you walk, if that's what you want?" he asked, which the Uchiha agreed to. "Well, duh. Since it's your fault I'm like this. Well, I'm not the one who was begging for it last night and being all clingy on my body," Naruto said with a smirk while Sayori blushed. Naruto sat her down while he moved to grab her some clothing from his closet. "I meant every word, you know," Sayori said. "Every last one of them," I said. "It's all true. I just dash." "I know, Sayori-chan, and me too," he said with a smile which made her smile in return. Naruto opened up the closet to them, glanced through everything before he threw some black sweatpants at her, and then he threw a jacket at her. Sayori smiled before she looked at the monstrosity. Then she frowned. "What the hell is this?" Naruto turned around to see what she was talking about and saw that she was referring to the jacket he gave her. The jacket was a black and orange jumpsuit jacket with a swirl on the left side with a red Uzumaki swirl on the back. "What? It's just a shinobi jacket I got when in the village. It's comfy and good for training when I don't want to get my new clothes dirty. This is the ugliest jacket I've seen. It kind of reminds me of your old jumpsuit. Hey, despite its poor design, it was actually rather comfy too. Thank God you changed it. Otherwise you would have been super single," she said as she still took the jacket, however, and outed on. "He is right though. Despite this being so fucking ugly, this is rather comfy," she thought as Naruto began to get changed into some boxers and a white t-shirt. The two opened the bedroom door to head outside, leaving the room and heading into the living room where Kichiro and Haku were. Naruto was holding Sayori's arm as she still had a bit of trouble walking, but the feeling was slowly coming back to her. Kichiro was sitting by his bowl, eating some leftover meat from Haku's cooking, and Haku himself was eating breakfast while reading the newspaper. Kichiro looked up and saw the two. Well, if it isn't the sex maniacs. Calmed it down, have we? Naruto glared at the fox. Suck rope was all he said, but still petted his fox. EW. Don't touch me with your nasty sex perverted hands. I don't know where they've been. Fucking sex maniac and his dominatrix. Oh yeah, so I suppose those fox licks to the face should also count for something when you just encountered Akane back when we were training there. Right? Kichiro glared back at Naruto with a fiercer glare. You buddy, have got yourself into a stalemate here, he said while Naruto just rolled his eyes before helping the Uchiha sit down. Haku looked down as Naruto moved to sit down beside his girlfriend as the two just mumbled to each other and ate like Haku wasn't even there and didn't have questions. So, the ice user said. No, Haku, Naruto said as H put some food in his mouth. Oh, come on. It was your first time. You have to tell me. Sayori-chan. The Uchiha blushed as she looked at her food. Haku smiled. That's all I need. As he chuckled, making both Naruto and Sayori blush. Before Haku could grill into them more, there was a knock on the door. Naruto moved to answer it while Sayori looked down. Kichiro and Haku both looked at her. We're not done with you. The Uchiha girl blushed up something fierce as she kept eating. Naruto moved to the door and opened it to see Yakumo and Anko. Oh, Yakumo-chan, Anko-sensei, what are you doing here? I thought you were on a mission, Anko? Hey, a brat. Yeah, I was and just got back last night too. Which is what makes this even more annoying. Are you gonna let me in, or what? Naruto obviously stood to the side to let the rest of his team on while he glanced at Yakumo. What's going on? We, as a team, have been summoned by the Hokage. Yaku-chan, it happened. Haku said as he jumped from the chair. Anko and Yakumo looked to the table to see Sayori look down at her now empty plate with a huge blush, while Naruto was looking away from the group with his own reddened face. Yakumo took notice of Sayori and Naruto's attire and saw how red they are. She pieced everything together and gasped with a huge smile, but Anko jumped in. My gakis finally fucked like rabbits, Anko said as she jumped up and went to hug the Uchiha. Yakumo turned to Naruto as their sensei was practically crushing the Uchiha in her arms. So, details, Naruto. What happened? How good did it feel? Details. Naruto stayed tight-lipped as well as Sayori. Anko looked at both before she then pulled out the snakes in her arms. I have an idea, she said with a sinister smile, which made both teens sweat. Suddenly, an ANBU popped by the doorway. Naruto Kitsune, you are ordered dash. We know, Naruto and Sayori said in distress. The purple-haired ANBU stopped talking and noticed what Anko was going to do to them. Anko, we had a talk about this. But Yugao-chanin. No buts, you have to stop sodomizing people with snakes, especially your students. Let them go. The purple-haired Jonin groaned before she let Sayori go, making the girl and Naruto run out the apartment. Not before giving the ANBU a huge hug before the ANBU disappeared. Thank you, miss. You're a beautiful woman, they said before they ran off with Yakumo chasing them. Wait, you still have to tell me at least. Fuck off, Yakumo. Oh, very mature, Naruto, Anko sighed as she turned to Haku and Kichiro. She nodded her head to the fox, telling him let's go, but she looked at the ice user next. We're gonna get those two to talk. Even if we have to get a little forceful, and I'm not talking about beating people up. Damn right we aren't, Anko said. Haku and Anko nodded in understanding before the Jonin poofed out to the apartment with the fox. At the office, Naruto, Sayori, and Yakumo appeared. Yakumo, what's going on though? We're supposed to be having a day off to rest. Hell, we're at least supposed to have 3, Sayori said, kinda irritated about having a mission now. Yakumo frowned, which both had caught. What is it, Yakumo? Naruto asked, but the girl didn't respond with a direct answer. Let's see, she said before Anko and Kichiro popped up. Thanks for leaving me back at the apartment, bitch. Whatever. Just get in here, idiot. Kichiro jumped in the seal while Yakumo opened the door to the Hokage's office. What they saw in there, Naruto already knew this mission was going to be a pain in his ass. In the room was Naruto, Sakura, Kakashi, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Kushina with Natsumi in her arms and Minato in the chair. Ni-san, up, the little girl said, giggling. Naruto smiled softly at the little girl before he moved to Kushina and took her, making Natsumi laugh in happiness. Good morning, Naruto dash. HN was his response to the mother. You don't have to be such a jerk, Naruto Sakura said, but obviously he ignored the pink-haired girl. Team 12 reporting for duty, Hokage-sama, Anko said. Yes, Team 12. I'm sorry for calling you in on such a short notice and especially on your break, but I wouldn't have done so without a reason. Good. I mean, no offense, Hokage-sama, but my team is very tired. We deserve rest after running into it with the Akatsuki, Naruto said as Natsumi was playing with his ears. Yes, I'm aware of that, but please let me explain, Minato said. I'm sorry, Hokage-sama, but you said we have a mission? What is it? Sayori asked. Jiraiya and Tsunade looked at each other before turning to Minato. Kushina looked determined, as did Sakura and Naruto. Your mission is to infiltrate Orochimaru's hangout and capture Menma Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto and Sayori went full-faced at the mention of their names, their faces popping up in their minds and their anger with them resurfaced. Ha!
Hey, you! Yes, you! If you are here and want more seasons, don't forget to give your comment asking for the next seasons. So, bye bye.